school to figure this one out. But I know what goes on with my lips and my fingertips when I'm kissing somebody. Because let me tell you something, if I kiss you, it's going down. I need to be very clear about that. Because see, how we are created, okay, by our Heavenly Father. Psalm says we are fearfully and wonderfully made. We are created that once we get started, we don't have to stop. And see, once I get started, don't tease me. Why would I even do that to myself and set myself up for some danger? Because Proverbs is clear. Can a man take fire into his bosom and his clothes not be burned? Can a man really walk on hot coals and his feet not be seared? I don't know, you got to answer that question for yourself, I guess. But I can't. I really can't. And so, because I know me, because see, I come from, I'm not like your straight up version. Like, I've been some places. You understand what I'm saying? Does anybody, do y'all know what I'm saying? Okay. I needed to make sure everybody understood. What I'm saying is that when I was with somebody that I said, this is my first boyfriend, I love him, my parents raised me, it was a good Presbyterian church, not that I knew anything, but something about virginity was important to me, so I wanted to hold on to that. So then you go through the process, and I talk about it all the time. Me and this boy started holding hands, and holding hands was the best thing that ever happened to me. If you have never held somebody's hand, when you start holding their hand, you're like, shucks. I'm grown, But then, after 2 weeks, holding hands gets old. Then it's holding hands and kissing. And he put his tongue down my throat. And you're like, wow, I'm so advanced now. Holding hands and kissing. 2 weeks later, holding hands, kissing and touching. 3 weeks later, holding hands, kissing, touching, rubbing, humping, bumping, and grinding. I don't see nothing wrong. Yeah. So what happened was that was the process, and that was a process that got me into trouble. But that process started with the holding hands and the kissing and stuff. So then people say, well, now that you're a believer, don't you have control over that? And, don't you, can't you, can't you just, what can we do? That's what there's no. So what can I do? Well, here's something. Here's just something for starters. I'm just talking. If you and this person, because I believe one of the questions was, so if we're like going to be getting married, why couldn't we just do something? Because we are going to be married, so But the thing about it is, like, if right now you're not, when you stand before God, like, God doesn't see you as married yet. So for two people that really are desiring to please God and desiring to do things right and set up some type of inheritance for their children, you want to be an example to your sons and daughters, and one day say, Mom and Daddy did this thing right, because otherwise how are you going to look at them and say, and you know what? They're going to be looking at you. I just for me, I know that I would like to sow a godly seed for my sons and daughters. I would like to say, I would love for you to do it the way Mommy and Daddy did it. And so, but you need to be prepared to set up that kind of inheritance for your kids. I know that what I'm doing right now is affecting the next generation, so I'm about making it happen. But as far as the kissing, y'all want to add? Because I'm just talking. I'm just being honest.
This mic has been broke, so I just... He said, just jump on out there, right? In the beginning when we started introducing ourselves, and I was like, I've been sober 5 years, yeah. All right, well, before then, I think if you look at someone like myself who was really doing the do, and I think what happens, and this is serious, this is real serious, because we was talking about the root. And as a child, for me, I was introduced to pornography at the age of 10 because of my daddy, who was in the household. And it started with my older brother. So from that point, I was living in Seattle, Washington. Y'all gonna think this is sick. Can we talk like family for a second? Yes. All right, we ain't gonna talk like family. Can we talk like family for a second? Yes. Okay, cool. You're not gonna judge me. Y'all still love me and all that? Okay. So I think what happens is, I was talking with Darwin Hobbs, and Darwin Hobbs made a statement, and I like what he said. He says sometimes children's semen can still be wet. You ever seen a cement and it's wet, and then before it really dries, you can actually still, right in it. And I think while the semen is still wet, things that happen can kind of determine their future going into their manhood. So for me, it became a thing of being introduced to pornography at a certain age. My mother, my dad are still married. They've been married for going on 40 years. My grandparents. So I come from a background where I believe in, being together. All that to say this. I believe that then is what put me where I'm at now. I believe that when I gave up my virginity, it was because of what we was watching on television. It was because of the wrong crowd that was around me. I was that guy that was sitting back saying, I don't want to be labeled a gay dude. So the people I was with, they all was having sex. So in order for me to fit in, I had to actually have sex. And I chose her. It's funny because she lives here in DC now. And that's a little good. Oprah, that's a little good. But check where I'm going. I picked her, and I picked her because of the images of what you see. And I said, that is what she's supposed to look like. Coca-Cola body, so on and so forth. From that point, it became addictive. After I got involved, it was like crack cocaine. It was like I never had crack, I smoked weed back in the day. So I understand being addicted to something, what it actually, is. And from that point, I couldn't stop. When I decided to stop and be who I know who I am, the way that my mom raised me, that's when those same traps. And it's amazing because I go to high schools and I'll talk to, kids. And I'll talk to them and I'll say, ladies, y'all gotta stop. Because brothers will sit back and say, no, I'm worth the wait, I'm gonna wait. And then you all sit back and say, oh, he must be gay. So now, while he's trying to go around school, do the holy thing, and is trying to fit in, it's no longer cool and actually fly. So as a grown man, while I was on the radio doing 6 to 10 in Atlanta, Monday through Friday, it got to the point where I sat back and I said to myself, I said, I'm not doing this no more. The hardest thing for myself was to tell a woman no in the beginning, because they started looking at me like, what's up, you all right? How you getting down? You all right? So the same demon that confronted me in my childhood confronted me in my adulthood. And I had to make a decision. And then that's when I started rearranging the people I was around and said, okay, I can't hang with that crowd, I can't hang with that crowd, I can't hang with them. And it became that time in my life where it was that lonely moment, but I really wasn't lonely because I was getting strong at that point. Not gonna act like the masturbation didn't take place. We're gonna talk like family. I'm not gonna act like it became where, Coke ain't having sex now, but he's masturbating still. But I ain't having sex, I'm good. Then it got to the point where I started feeling dirty. Like, this ain't cool neither. So the same way that I came out of this, I was like, that's how I get out of this. And see, we'll sit back and he'll say, when we worship him in spirit and Truth. But we forget the truth part. And it was the truth part that got me out of stop having sex. So then I said, how do we stop masturbating? And I just started talking to our Father. And truth was like, I really don't want to do this no more, you know? And I need for you to help me, you know? So the question is, what is my definition of sexual purity? It says the pure at heart will see God. I'm going to see God because my heart is pure. So when that day comes, I believe